Good morning, guys. And today I'd like to do a little bit of a gear review. Now, as those of you that recently watched my budget knife recommendations, I recently picked up a PKS Pathfinder Knife School Buffalo Skinner. And I'd like to say a few things about it. I've had a week and a half now of using this every day as the knife. It's rode on my belt. It's been the kitchen knife. I've processed roast with it. I've cut up meat, cut up chickens. I've cleaned, 2 squirrels with this thing thus far. Plus, I've done a lot of, cutting up vegetables, taters, and everything else, peeling taters, all of it. This is a really good general purpose camp knife right here. Now, my background of wanting this. When I was a small kid, my grandmother had a drawer that had handmade butcher knives in it, handmade kitchen knives, usually recycled from something else. And somewhere back in the 40s or 50s, some family member had created a butcher knife very similar to this. And I kind of snuck it out of Granny's knife drawer and took it out behind the boathouse so I could practice, after watching Daniel Boone and stuff like that. I was a small kid, probably about 6, 7. And so I was out there, whittling on sticks, trying to figure out how to make a figure 4 trap, how to tie sticks together to make a box trap to drop and catch a bird, that type of stuff. I was in love with all that Davy Crockett stuff, and I wanted to learn. And that just looked like a knife that Davy Crockett would have. It had a roundish handle like that, the whole 9 yards. Well, of course, eventually Granny opened that drawer looking for that heavy knife and couldn't find it. And things were not misplaced in Granny's kitchen, so it's obvious the only suspect. And so after I confessed and I went and got it, and it had tree sap on it and several other things, and Granny got a little warm about that. Well, my uncle, who had been a Marine in World War II, took pity on me. And the next time he came to visit, he brought me a K-bar knife that he had carried at Guadalcanal. And said, "Here, just give you a field knife. Now you got something you can play with." And so that was my first bushcraft knife. So that homemade butcher knife is what started the whole path for me. And whenever I saw a knife very similar to this that Dave Canterbury was using in his videos for quite a while, it brought back a lot of memories. And I wanted one. And I knew that they had made a run of them, but I didn't know it was a current item, to be honest. And so I'd seen 1 or 2 pop up on trade blankets and stuff, but I just never had the money at the time. And then I found out that these are still in production. So I had a little money and I went and got me one. So this was bought by Blackie. This is not a paid promotion from Pathfinder School or nothing like that. I bought this. This is mine. And nobody knew I was getting this. So this isn't a special cherry-picked one. This is my honest review of it. Well, as I said, is a kitchen knife, great. Is a field tool, great knife. Okay? Now let's talk about how it shows up. It's going to show up in a box like this. Dirty by design, made in the USA, Pathfinder. It's going to come wrapped up in bubble wrap and cellophane, and there's going to be a little piece of cardboard that goes over to protect the edge because it shows up sharp. Now that I have showed you the box, the wife can have it because she wants it for shipping of something for Christmas. Now, this has been used, like I said, for a week and a half. It came out of the box like this. I haven't touched it. The whole edge, full length, just as razor sharp as it can be. This is a tool steel that holds an edge very, very well. High carbon tool steel. So it's going to be easy to hone, easy to keep in the field. Now that it's sharp, if I ever detect it starting to get a little bit off, I'm not going to sharpen it, I'm going to hone it. I'm going to bring out my pocket hone and run over it a few times, and that'll bring it back. Only when it gets truly dull will I be able to will I really want to resharpen it. But if you hone a knife, it'll last for years before you have to resharpen it, because when you hone it, you're just polishing it. You bring that edge back. When you sharpen, you're taking metal away. And sharpening is kind of overrated. Honing should be highest priority, and then sharpen if you have to. But that's my little 2 cents. This swept design that has this funny little hump right here, that hump really works, because that works for skinning as much as anything else. Now, Nesmuk's knife has a hump like that. Look at what Nesmuk was doing. If you read his stuff, a lot of his food is in tins. That was very common at that time. So that hump is perfect for going in the can and cleaning out the inside of the can to get it out. So you're taking it out of the can, the jellies, the jams, the butters, and everything else. So that's very useful in a camp for getting that out, you know, for cleaning out the can to get all the food out of it. Something that was big in the day. The other thing is, as a skinning tool, it's nice and thick, see? So that means that whenever I pierce in with that tip and go underneath the skin, see how that rolls down? Then, see how my hand is up here now? I'm not flat down in the gut, my hand's up at an angle. So I could bear down and let this ride on the meat. The hide will roll up over. So you pierce in and then you start pushing. And the hide will roll up, and just like a zipper, you will open up for processing big game, cleaning deer, things like that. This would be an excellent tool for that. Plus the fact that the way this handle is beveled, you can grip and put your fingertip right there, so you know what it is. Put your fingertip right there, and now you've got something for doing precision cuts up into the body. Like when you've got to reach up inside of a carcass to cut something or whatever. It's right where your finger is, just like a sharp finger. But that shelf is perfect for my hand to put my finger in it, brace it, and put my finger right up there at the tip so I can get up in there. Notice how that curve hooks to the wrist. Almost like an ulu. Now I can cut, chop, slice, etc. That ergonomic turn, the shape of it, when you start using it, will really shine. The handle is nice, round, curved, fits my hand perfectly. Notice how my fingers come up, my fingers touch. So it's exactly the right size for my hand. Maybe a little different from yours. This swell down. There's not a finger guard on this. So like I said in the other video, don't stab. If you got grease all over your hands, or you're cleaning something and they're wet and greasy and slick, don't stab this into a stump unless you turn around and put your thumb over the top. So otherwise your fingers may slide down, and that sharp knife will do a job on some fingers. So use your head. This upswell does give you a little warning that you're starting to go uphill. And so it does have an effect like a hand guard, okay, because of the way it's gripped. So, as a camp tool for cooking, fantastic for prep work for vegetables, meat, potatoes, etc. The back here is good at using it as a stir in the skillet. Be able to flip stuff over in a little bitty fry pan or something. Works just fine. The 90-degree edge on this works really, really good for stripping bark, shaving, sanding, etc. There's a good 90-degree spine, which means it does a good job at shaving. Just that 90-degree spine. Now where that 90-degree spine is going to really shine is taking the bark off and taking, like, shaving up, fine shaving off of fat wood or something like that. And we're going to show that in a minute. But by doing that, let's say it's been raining for days and everything's sopping wet. I can save my edge and just use the back, because a lot of times you got a stick, it's been on the ground maybe or whatever, it's got a little bit of sand and grit in that bark, and you take it and you start doing your edge. You're stropping your edge with sandpaper. It'll dull. It can, won't necessarily this, but it can dull an edge, wear an edge faster. So I prefer to use the back of a knife to strip bark off. That way when I get the bark removed from this, going around like that, now I got dry wood, because in a fire making, that wet bark's just going to act like a wet sponge. It's going to stink, it's going to dampen down the fire, and it's going to make a lot of smoke. I don't want that. I'm going to come up here and put the knife onto it, and I'm going to use my thumb as a lever. I'm going to do this. Cut in and lift up. Just like that. I'm not making a true feather stick. I'm making a fuzzy stick. I'm going to walk down the stick, constantly just hooking and lifting up. That hump right there does a really good job of being my fulcrum point. And so I can take it and kind of slice up and in like that. And that makes fuzz. Now I go all the way around of that. A match will catch on that real easy. If I get another little dry tinder of some kind I can get to ignite, these will catch fire easy. So 4 or 5 of those, 6 inches long, on a pile on a wet day, I'll get something burning, get something going. Good prep tool. Now, let's shift down here and let's shave a little bit of fat wood, and then we'll talk about sheaths. Okay, carry option. When you buy the knife from the Pathfinder knife shop, it does not come with a sheath unless you order a sheath separately. The price of the knife was $129 at the time of this video when I purchased mine. And I've decided to go with the sheath, to buy a separate sheath. So total price for the knife and the sheath was $173 to my door. Okay, this is a very high quality leather sheath. Fits it perfect. Okay, so that is one carry option. If you're a little bit on a budget, you can buy the knife, and a K-bar sheath can be used to carry it. This one is a brown leather replacement one that I got from Smoky Mountain Knife Works. I think it was $12 or $14, something like that, for the sheath. And it fits it just fine, just like that. Snap. Just like that. Okay. Now also, for those of you that may have my WC Knives Blackbird, Randy Smith's 6-way sheath, he will make you one for this, but if you already have a Blackbird, it fits in the Blackbird sheath perfectly. The dimensions are close enough that you can slide the Buffalo Skinner into the exact same sheath and it will fit and hang in there, no problem, because of the curves and all in the places it binds. So that is another option if you already have one of the Blackbird 6-way sheaths from Randy Smith and stitchgear.com. It'll work. Now, taking a piece of fat wood, using the back of that knife, making me up a good pile of shavings. There we go. Simple and easy. So, finally, if you're looking for a really good knife in the $100 to $200 range, the semi-custom type knife, handmade, look at the Pathfinder knife school knives, knife shop knives. Now, this knife is the only knife that I'm aware of that has a lifetime warranty that includes covering batoning. Dave Canterbury has used them many times in videos, and I reached out to Dave and I asked, if someone gets one of your knives and is using a wooden mallet, have a little horse sense, guys. Don't put this in a piece of gnarly or any piece of steel. Put it in a piece of gnarly oak, start beating on it with a claw hammer, because you're going to break steel on steel. But if you're using a wooden baton, would it be covered if it broke? And he said it's covered under warranty. So those of you out there, which I'm not a big fan of batoning, but if you do believe in batoning, look at the PKS knives. They're covered for batoning. That's a little extra. Hope you've enjoyed this content, guys. If you have, please hit that like, share, and subscribe button. And there'll be more videos coming in the future. Till next time, guys, I'm Blackie wishing you safe journeys. Have a great day, guys.